He was only 17, yet he sat in court with a calm expression that unsettled everyone watching. There was no fear in his eyes, no visible regret, no sign that the weight of the moment had reached him.
Cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder, young man.
As experts began to speak about what was happening inside his mind, the room grew heavy with disbelief. This was not about impulse or teenage confusion. It was about obsession, attention, and a dangerous need to feel powerful. What psychologists revealed would leave people questioning how someone so young could think in ways that felt so disturbingly cold. Michael Swanson was 17 years old when he decided he wanted attention in the worst way possible. He lived in Minnesota with his family. On the outside, he looked like a regular teenager. Inside, he was building a plan that would end 2 innocent lives in just a few hours. In November 2010, Swanson left his home without telling anyone the truth about where he was going. He stole his mother's car. He packed a duffel bag. Inside that bag were stolen cash, a ski mask, and a .40 caliber pistol taken from his family's cabin in northern Minnesota. He later admitted that he wanted to rob stores and make headlines. He wanted people to know his name. He drove into Iowa with that goal in mind. This was not random driving. He crossed state lines already thinking about robbery. But robbery was not the only thing on his mind. The gun was loaded. The mask was ready. He was prepared to use force. His first stop was in Humboldt, Iowa. The target was a convenience store where a 61-year-old clerk named Sheila Myers was working. She was a wife, a mother, and known by people in her town as kind and dependable. She was alone behind the counter that night. Swanson walked in armed. He demanded money. Myers complied. She gave him what he asked for. There was no fight. There was no resistance. The total he took was just $31 and some cigarettes. That was all. Then, without any need, he shot her in the face with the .40 caliber Beretta handgun. The store turned into a crime scene within seconds. Blood was on the floor. Emergency calls came in. People who arrived described panic. One voice on the call asked if she was breathing. Another voice answered that it did not appear so. The damage was already done.
There's blood everywhere.
Blood everywhere? Okay, I'll get an ambulance there and I'll get an officer there, okay?
Thank you.
Is she breathing or is she...
She doesn't appear to be, no.
Swanson left the store and drove away. He had money. He had cigarettes. He could have stopped there, but he did not. Earlier that same evening, before the Humboldt shooting, Swanson had already struck once in another Iowa town. He had gone to Algona and entered the Crossroads convenience store. Inside, 47-year-old Vicki Bowman Hall was working. Bowman Hall was known as warm and generous. She had a husband and children. She was simply doing her job that night. Swanson walked in with the same gun. He demanded money. Just like Myers, Bowman Hall complied. She followed instructions. There was no struggle. He shot her anyway. Prosecutors later described both killings as completely senseless and cold-blooded. The clerks begged for their lives. They were defenseless. There was no sign that either woman threatened him. The shootings were deliberate. Within hours, 2 different towns were dealing with 2 separate murder scenes. At first, they did not know the same person was responsible, but investigators began connecting the dots. The weapon described was similar. The suspect description matched. The timing was close. Police started searching for a young man driving a stolen vehicle from Minnesota. Swanson kept moving. He did not stay in one place. He had already crossed into Iowa once. Now, he was trying to get away. Law enforcement agencies shared information quickly. Alerts were sent out. Officers looked for the stolen car. Eventually, authorities located him. He was arrested without a long public chase. The teenage suspect who wanted headlines was now in police custody. That should have been the end of the violence, but it was not. What happened next shocked even experienced investigators. During recorded police interviews, Swanson did not act scared or confused. Detectives expected nervousness from a 17-year-old facing 2 murder charges. Instead, they saw something else. He appeared relaxed. At times, he even smiled. Officers later said his attitude felt detached, almost amused. When detectives asked how he felt pulling the trigger, his answer was direct. He said he felt powerful and that he did not really care. There was no hesitation in his voice. When asked why he shot one of the women in the face, he explained that it seemed final. He admitted he already knew he was going to shoot before he entered the stores. He described the killings as tying up loose ends so no one could identify him. Investigators pressed him about remorse. They wanted to know if he understood the damage he caused. His response did not change. He said he felt normal and that he needed sleep. Officers later described sitting in silence after hearing those words. The calm tone disturbed them more than anger would have.
I robbed some stuff.
What kind of gun did you have?
A Beretta, something.
Okay. And where'd you get that gun?
A cabin.
Your cabin up in northern Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just going to keep heading south?
Yeah. So, I ended up in some other town. I don't know what town it was. I think this one was the Come and Go.
Come and Go? Okay. Then what? Tell me about that.
The clerk was the only person there. So I had the mask on, the coat on, and I went in there.
Okay.
And I walked in with the gun in the bag, and I took it out, and I pointed at her. I put the bag on the table. That's what I like. I don't remember what I said, but she put the money in the bag. And she said, I don't remember. And then I shot her, and I left. I just walked out.
Just walked out? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You knew you were going to shoot her?
Yeah.
Okay. At what point did you make up your mind that you were going to shoot her?
Just thinking, like, I don't know. It's like tying up loose ends. I don't know.
Tying up loose ends?
It's like, so then she can call the police. She can, like, point me out.
Okay. She won't be able to identify you, would she, if you shot her? Okay. So when you were still sitting in the car, did you know that you were going to shoot?
Yeah.
When you left the car, you knew you were going to shoot her? I'm always curious, how did it feel when you pulled the trigger? I mean, some people say that, it feels powerful or that it's kind of a rush, or what did you feel when you pulled the trigger?
I felt powerful, but, like, I don't know, I just didn't really care.
Didn't care, okay. How else did you feel?
It had no effect on me. I just didn't even care. I don't know, I just felt like my adrenaline was pumping. I felt good.
Okay. How do you feel now? Do you feel the same, or has it changed a little bit?
Not really.
Not really?
I don't know. I just feel like, sometimes people get shot.
And where did you shoot?
Around the body?
Yeah.
In the face.
In the face? Okay. Why the face? Did you do that on purpose?
Well, I don't know. It just seems like it's final.
It was final? Okay. You knew for a fact that she'd be dead if you shot her in the face?
More than likely.
Okay. Okay. And why did you want her to be dead as opposed to just be injured?
If I was just going to shoot to injure her, why would I shoot her at all? I don't know.
How do you feel right now?
About what? Like...
Do you feel manic right now, or do you feel pretty normal?
I feel normal. I just feel like I need to get some sleep.
Okay.
As the case moved forward, prosecutors charged him as an adult. He faced 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of first-degree robbery in Kossuth and Humboldt counties. Because of heavy media coverage, one of the trials was moved from Humboldt County to Carroll County to ensure a fair jury. Lawyers spent hours selecting 8 women and 6 men to serve on the panel. This was only the first of 2 trials. Another trial was scheduled in Lyon County for the second killing. If convicted, Swanson faced mandatory life sentences. In court, more details about his mindset came out. A psychiatrist testified about Swanson's long-standing fascination with violence. According to testimony, he admired criminals portrayed in movies and books. He wanted attention. He wanted recognition. The psychiatrist said Swanson took pride in what he had done and struggled to understand why people were so upset. One reported belief was especially disturbing. Swanson reportedly said that people are going to die anyway, and he did not see the difference between dying at an old age or being shot by him. The courtroom heard that he viewed the trial itself as validation. Being analyzed and discussed made him feel important.
He had been, quotes, planning something to this degree, including killing people. Continuing the quote, He said, "I have always been fascinated by death and violence. And it was something that I wanted to do. Murder, rape, and cannibalism." From what Mr. Swanson told me his perspective was. People are going to die. What difference does it make whether they die when they're 77 or whether he shoots them? It's just not a big deal. He could not understand why everybody was getting so upset about this whole situation. He's happy as a clam. He's killed somebody. He's getting all this attention. We're all here. It's a dream come true.
Defense attorneys attempted to argue insanity. They claimed he was not mentally responsible for his actions. The judge rejected that argument. The court ruled that Swanson knew exactly what he was doing when he entered the stores and pulled the trigger. As testimony continued, families of the victims sat in the courtroom listening to details no family ever wants to hear. Vicki Bowman Hall's husband and children faced the man who had taken her life. Sheila Meyer's family did the same. The evidence included surveillance footage, witness accounts, and Swanson's own statements. When the verdict was read in 2011, the jury found him guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of first-degree robbery. The sentence was mandatory. He received 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Some in the courtroom focused not only on the verdict, but also on his behavior. Family members later said he appeared to grin and laugh at times during proceedings. That reaction left a lasting impact on those who were already grieving. One family member said they would never forget that expression. Swanson began serving his life sentences in the Iowa prison system. For many, the case might have seemed finished at that point. 2 murders, a conviction, life behind bars. But the story did not end there. In November 2013, at the Iowa Medical and Classification Center in Coralville, Swanson became involved in another violent attack. He was no longer a teenager in a convenience store. He was an inmate serving life sentences. According to a Coralville police criminal complaint, at 7:18 in the morning on November 13th, Swanson and another inmate named Michael Ivester approached a seated prisoner in a common area of their cell block. Ivester grabbed the victim's arms and hands to hold him in place. Swanson used a weapon made from a razor blade to slash at the man's neck. The attack was fast and coordinated. The victim was cut 15 times and required stitches. The assault ended only when a correctional officer and another inmate intervened. They pushed Swanson and Ivester off the victim and prevented further harm. Police later reported that the motive was simple. They did not like the other inmate. That was the explanation given. There was no complicated dispute described in court documents. It came down to personal dislike. Both Swanson and Ivester were charged with attempted murder, a Class B felony punishable by up to 25 years in prison. Swanson eventually pleaded guilty to the charge. An additional 25 years were added to his sentence. During this period, changes were also happening in the legal system. In 2012, the United States Supreme Court ruled against automatic life sentences without parole for juveniles. In response, Iowa Governor Terry Branstad commuted the life sentences of 38 inmates convicted as juveniles, including Swanson. Their sentences were changed to terms of 60 years before becoming eligible for parole. Because of the attempted murder case inside prison, Swanson's resentencing hearing was continued indefinitely. Legal proceedings continued to follow him years after the original crimes. Reports from the Iowa Department of Corrections described ongoing disciplinary issues. Officials acknowledged that confrontations between inmates do occur, but when violence reaches a certain level, local authorities are called. In Swanson's case, the severity of the attack required outside investigation. Institutional punishment inside prison can include loss of good behavior time, segregation, and disciplinary detention. In Swanson's situation, the consequences went beyond internal discipline because of the criminal charge. Psychological evaluations during and after trial suggested that his behavior was driven by a desire for dominance and recognition. Experts testified that attention mattered to him. The killings were not only about money or escape. They were tied to his need to feel powerful. The judge at sentencing addressed him directly. The court described him as dangerous and unpredictable, stating there was no place for him in an open, law-abiding society. Those words were part of the official record. Families of the victims continued to speak publicly about their loss. Bowman Hall's daughter described her mother as the rock of the family, a woman who worked long hours and cared for 11 children and several grandchildren. Meyer's family shared similar memories of dedication and kindness. For them, the court process was not about headlines or attention. It was about accountability. Swanson's name became connected not only to the murders in Humboldt and Algona, but also to the prison attack in Coralville. The pattern of violence followed him from outside walls to inside them. He remains incarcerated under consecutive life terms, along with the additional years added for attempted murder. Legal debates about juvenile sentencing changed the structure of his punishment, but they did not erase the convictions. From the moment he was recognized in that McDonald's to the final gavel strike in court, the path was clear. Arrest without resistance, interrogation without remorse, trial with disturbing testimony, conviction with mandatory sentences, violence even after incarceration. Each stage revealed more about the mindset behind the original crimes. The statements in interrogation showed a lack of empathy. The psychiatric testimony suggested fascination with notoriety. The courtroom behavior affected grieving families. The prison assault demonstrated continued aggression. What began as a teenager driving across state lines with a stolen car and a handgun ended with multiple life sentences and additional prison time for further violence. The legal system addressed each step through arrest, charges, jury selection, testimony, verdict, and sentencing. The questions that first appeared during interrogation about motive and mindset were examined in courtrooms and psychiatric evaluations. Some answers were provided through sworn testimony and official findings. Others remain debated by experts who study violent behavior in young offenders. This case forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about mindset, responsibility, and how far the desire for attention can really go. What do you think shapes a person to think this way at such a young age? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into real cases.